All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another golf picks video here. Today, we're looking at the Players Championship, which is an absolute one amazing tournament and amazing course. I was thinking right before recording here, this is probably my favorite and I guess most notable course on tour, which isn't that surprising. I feel like everyone and their grandmother has seen the pictures or knows of the 17th Island Green. But yeah, very, very excited for this week. In terms of last week, we cleaned up. We had a really good week. I mean, Rory McIlroy didn't come through for us. We had him laddered T5, T10, or top 5, top 10. And also to win, right? That didn't come through, but Tom Hoge, we were big on, had him top 30, top 20, top 10, just barely missed out, but we swept our matchups, which I really do like betting matchups here. We had Aberg, Hoge, and Sam Burns, who came through for us there. We did have Sam Burns as well, top 10, and he absolutely, you know what, the bed. But nonetheless, for our first, of consistent golf videos here on the channel, we had a really good week last week. We have that all recapped in last video's pinned comment. But speaking of that, guys, like we do in these videos and in our other videos here, I'm going to go through everything that I like and all of my thoughts on this tournament. We'll go through the course. I'll give you some players that I think fit the mold for players that should be pretty successful here. But keep an eye on the pinned comment. That is where all of my plays, what I'm actually going to be rolling with, will be listed out. So even if we're talking about, hey, I like this guy, top 30, top 10, yada, 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 you'll see what I'm actually rolling with in the pinned comment. So make sure to go ahead and check that out. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into this course. So there's a few things we want to note here, and we'll flash up Bet the Number in a second. Again, we don't have any affiliation yet with Bet the Number, but this is such a cool site. So if you're golf betting, I highly suggest you check it out. But this is TPC Sawgrass here. So small greens, overseed both chipping grass and green grass, and it's Bermuda blue, or excuse me, rye/bluegrass rough, which... One thing to note, too, with this championship, or with this tournament, I should say, it's called the Players Championship. With this tournament, used to be played in May, now is moved up to March. So anything that we're looking at here, we have filtered the last 3 years. This is the first year that it was in March, but I just have it to the last 3 just to kind of keep consistent. So a couple things you'll notice here. Greens in regulation, a couple percent down from tour average. Fairways in regulation seem fairly on par. Bogeys per round definitely up. Par 3 scoring is up. Par 4 scoring is up. Par 5 scoring kind of right in the middle there. Less birdies per round as well when it comes to TPC Sawgrass here. Scrambling way down here too. This is a tough scramble course. If you do miss the green, you could easily be in water. There's tons of water everywhere. So those approach shots, those second shots are going to be absolutely crucial. If we look at some recent history here, I have this filtered. Again, the last 3 years, this is everyone that's come in the top 20 filtered by position. You could see where the green is, right? All of that green in strokes gained approach. That's definitely going to be a very, very important stat, like last week and like every tournament, hitting greens, making birdies and pars, right? But also off the tee here, you'll see if we filter, there's a lot of nice numbers on here and tons of green. Now we're filtered high to low, but still, that's going to be a crucial thing because on this course, you do not want to miss the fairway. Driving accuracy is going to be absolutely huge here. Not necessarily because you want a nice shot in to hold the green or anything like that, but this rough is tough. I almost want to say it's not as tough as it used to be, but still compared to a lot of the tour, like this is tough rough. So if we head over to the players model here, you can see filtering this by outright, where guys kind of rank. This is the model that I've thrown in. The weighing system is up to you if you do want to do it, but you can see here you can put percent weights on this. I have this made out to have strokes gained off the tee, approach, around the green, putting, fairway center, the percentage, or I guess how close you are to the middle of the fairway, distance from the edge of the fairway. So if you do miss the fairway, how close is it? Hit fairway percentage, driving accuracy percentage, scrambling, and then greens and regulation. You'll notice that putting isn't on here other than strokes gained putting. This is a massive putting course, and it always has been. The winners seem to putt well, but I do think it gets to a level of overhype when it comes to putting. Like, look at the past few winners here. Like, yeah, they're putting really, really well, but stroke gain's approach is green, whereas we see Scotty Scheffler last year actually lost strokes, or didn't lose strokes, but wasn't all that great when it comes to putting. We saw Tom Hoge, one of our guys that we like again this week, didn't putt that well, still finished tied 3 last year. Like, putting is obviously going to be super, super important, but I really think you know, for this tournament, and in years past, I've definitely looked at putting more, but I think that I'm looking at off the tee and sort of hitting greens here. So you'll notice that when we go through it in the model here. But tons of guys. Scottie Scheffler, he's just not bettable right now, in my opinion, unless you're taking him outright. Top 5, you can still get some nice return, but this dude is just absolutely unreal right now. So it's tough to take him at such juiced odds. Actually, one thing that I also wanted to mention too, and I didn't mention, is that this course definitely favors, just looking at recent winners and everything like that. If we actually head back, we can probably find this somewhere, or maybe it's in the model, but we could just say it. This course favors recent form, meaning you're playing well leading up to this and everything like that. It's not necessarily a course in which you need to have good course history. Scottie Scheffler, for example, didn't have like incredibly great course history prior to winning it, right? And it's not really that abnormal. Like, a lot of guys seem to have pretty good course, recent form versus course history when they've placed well at this tournament. So easiest way to say that is, if you're playing hot right now, you have a better chance at this course than someone that just repeatedly year over year places well here. Scottie Scheffler obviously playing hot right now, coming off the win at the API. But let's get into who I like in this spot. He's like the most obvious name, but we don't have him starred because he's actually not making our favorites list this week due to the fact that he is so juiced when it comes to odds. So let's move this camera down a little bit. Let's pop up my favorites here, and pretty short list. We have 8 guys that I'm considering right now. Again, guys, keep an eye on the pinned comment for any updates or anything like that. But a lot of these guys I'm either considering in this top 20, top 30 range, as well as some matchup spots. So we haven't really gotten to the top 5 or outrights yet. I'd love to get to that point, but if you look at the lines that we have, we got some dark horses that we're looking at here. But we'll start it off top to bottom. Sam Burns. So obviously he kind of has a choke job here at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Finishes at +1, tied 30. He did putt well last week, but prior to that, he had been playing really good. And honestly, aside from that one choke job or choke day, like, he played fairly well. Like, he was on his way to cashing a top 10 and just kind of fell out of that. So I'm not going to say, okay, one bad round and a half at a really tough course throws him out of contention here. And I do think, that sort of bad finish to the API kind of helps his odds. Like, you're getting even odds for him at top 30 here, not all that bad. Top 20, I can almost really surefire, I do think that this is going to be a spot. But what I'm looking at here is the fact that his strokes gained off the tee, only 8 guys in the field better than him. He does have a little green light here when it comes to putting, which we like to see. And like I said, putted well last week and has been putting well. Not that I want to weigh putting over everything like a lot of people do for this tournament, but it's still worth noting that it's nice to see. He's kind of mediocre when it comes to everything else. Scrambling, one of the better guys in the field here, so that's nice. But realistically, you could see kind of where I spent most of my time. I love these stroke gains off the tee, guys. And again, that's sort of a mix of how he's playing recent form. If we throw recent form in here, you can see he was playing well, and the API was just kind of his first tournament in a while that he didn't look all that great. He had 4 straight top 10s prior to that in his appearances. All right, so Sahith Theegala here is an interesting one. Another sort of long odds to win, but right when you get into this top 30, top 20 territory, it looks really, really nice. Stroke gains off the tee, he's ranked 11th. Nothing else that he does too particularly well, and I hate the fact that we're looking at 124 here in greens regulation. So this could be a move. This is probably, honestly, a matchup play. We're going to look for someone on DK or somewhere else that has matchups where he maybe has a strokes gained off the tee edge and maybe hitting more, fairways or whatnot than that. So Sahith Theegala is a guy that, playing here in the past, hasn't really had much luck, but we already said that isn't the biggest of deals, right? And if you look at his recent form, kind of all over the place. So honestly, if it wasn't for strokes gained, I don't know if he'd make it into this sort of short list that we have, but I can't knock that, top 11 strokes gains off the tee in this spot. Now we start getting into some guys that are definitely underdogs, but we see a lot of green here, right? So Tom Hoge, I can almost assure you that we're going to be taking some action on Hoge. He has tons of green from off the tee. That approach is absolutely crazy as well. Hit fairway percentage, only 12 guys better than him in the field. Top 10 driving accuracy. Again, we want to hit fairways here. And look at his recent form. We got a top 17 or tied 17, 8th tied 28th and tied 12th last week, and he came through for us big. We hit him top 30, we hit him top 20, and then in his matchup against Kirk as well, 4+ money. So Hoagie, definitely going to be sort of another ladder play for us, maybe 30, 20, 10 again, and I'm going to kind of keep an eye on his matchups because I love the fact that strokes gained off the tee and approach, we're seeing 2 green bars there, and then you throw in hit fairway percentage and driving accuracy, massive on this course to avoid that tough rough. And, you know, like I said, recent form, right? Aaron Rai, this is a weird one, okay? We're looking at plus 8,000 outright here, potentially looking for some plus money opportunities in matchups with him. But when it comes to recent form, he really hasn't necessarily had it. Same thing with like course history here. He only has that one appearance in 2023, last year, and tied 19th. So it's like the inverse of what we want to see, right? Like I just got finished saying I don't value guys that have, it doesn't hurt, but I don't value guys as much that have played well here in the past. It's more of how you've been playing. And you can make the argument he started to get good, but he has 2 cuts in his last 5 appearances. So this could be more of a flyer or a matchup play because he's kind of lighting up what we want to see. Green across the board, right? Strokes gained, light green, dark green here for approach, which we obviously love to see. Hit fairway percentage, driving accuracy, and then greens in regulation. Like the dude's doing the thing from what we want to see. I just don't know how much I trust the player. Now, a couple plays here. 2 of the next 3 that we'll talk about, other than Hoagie, are going to be like 2 of my favorites on the board here today for this tournament. Keith Mitchell, definitely someone that we're looking to have some action in. Other than scrambling, which is something nice at this course, but we're not giving it too much of a weight. He's kind of hitting this out of the park. Recent form looking good, right? Greens in regulation, 3rd in the field, 2nd off the tee in terms of ranking, top 10 for approach, hit fairway percentage and driving accuracy, both top 16. We like to see that, and these odds are great. If we were to ladder him anywhere through here, you're getting plus money across the board. And like I said, he's had the recent form, and you throw in the fact that he's kind of played well here in the past. Again, I'm not focusing on that, but I keep referring to it. But it's not necessarily something that hurts to say, okay, he's played okay here in the past, and he's had some decent recent form. Like, he's just getting better and better as the weeks go on. So Keith Mitchell, definitely someone that will probably have a decent share of. So far in these names, Tom Hoagie and Keith Mitchell, I think, may have some of the most value. But we're about to get to someone that I think has some absolute crazy value in a little bit. Harris English. Actually just threw him into the favorites right before recording this. Recent form looking decent. Strokes gained, approach, and off the tee kind of mediocre, but he can scramble and hit greens in regulation. And he's one of the better putters that we have listed, or has been putting best in his last 10 rounds here that we have listed in our favorites. Like I said, I'm not focusing on putting, but you'll notice we have no reds. You can't putt poorly and play well at this course, so it's either meh, which, Aaron Rai, again, kind of looks meh there, right, at that 100th rank. But it's either matte or green that we have in here. It's one of the only categories that we don't like to see any red here. All right, this is probably one of, if not my favorite plays on the favorite guys on the pool here. Alex Noren. Based on what we think, and again, it's just my opinion and based on research, what we think a player needs to do at this course, he does it all. Strokes gained off the tee isn't going to hurt you, but his approach, 18th ranked here. Distance from the fairway center, doing really well. Distance from the edge, even when he misses fairways, he doesn't miss them by much. Hit fairway percentage, driving accuracy, all stellar. Greens and regulation, stellar. Do I wish he had better recent form? Yes. Yes, and I'm trying to ignore how many times he's been cut in the last 4 years here since moving this to March. But Alex Noren for plus 10,000 odds to win. Not that we sprinkle on that, but that cascades throughout his odds, right? This could be a ladder guy and a half, and I think we could get some seriously good value if we could find some matchups out there for Alex Noren. And then Doug Ghim. I feel like this is a guy that burns plenty of people, but the recent form is definitely there. His off the tee strokes gained haven't been crazy, but his approach in every tournament he's played in the last 4 years have been pretty damn good. He's just climbing up there. And again, he's one of the guys that we're focusing on, giving him kind of a shout for putting. I feel like we've seen him have some struggles putting to some degree, but based on his last 10 rounds, there's only 4 guys better than him in the field when it comes to putting. And those 4 guys are David Skins, Russell Henley, Chad Ramey, and Garrick Higo. So you look at those names and it's like, okay, so realistically on our list here, He's a better putter than some of those top names at the end at the leaderboard in his last 10 rounds. Driving accuracy, greens, and regulation, we love to see that stuff as well. And like I said, the recent form is there, and I love the approach, sort of the approach consistency, right? Back in the Mexico Open here, strokes gained 5.9 when it comes to, like, that is just awesome to see. So these are the guys that we're considering here. Again, if we were to go back, they're not listed as my favorites, but you gotta always take a peek at Scheffler, and even Rory, you know, plays this course well. He won it in 2019. I believe that was the first year that it was held here in March. Scottie Scheffler, the reigning champion. Like, there's no reds across the board for either of these guys other than putting for Rory, but Rory's always going to kind of be a toss-up when you take him in anything golf betting-wise, because is he going to putt well or not? Like, that's just Rory, right? Some weeks he will, some weeks he won't. But that's kind of what I'm thinking, guys. Again, just to give you a really quick run-through. Burns, Theegala, Hoagie, Rye, Mitchell, English, Noren, and Gim. My favorite 3 value plays on the board are Noren, Mitchell, and Hoagie, as weird as that is. Then it probably goes Burns, Theegala, and English, and then Gim and Rye if we had a little consolatory bracket there. But those are the names I'm looking at. And again, we're trying to find value here. I'm not necessarily always going to be trying to find winners. I love taking matchups in golf, and we definitely had some success doing that last week. So we're here to try and make some dough, right? Not necessarily predict a winner. So hopefully you guys do enjoy these players, these golf videos, this one being the Players Championship. It's awesome. While you're watching this, I'm actually on a golf trip in South Carolina. So hopefully the golf vibes are, allowing us to have some good play as well as good bets. But that's all I have for you guys. Hope you guys do enjoy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.